I still remember the moment our scanners detected the signal buried beneath the asteroid's crust. It was a frequency older than our species, older than every star chart ever drawn. I should have turned back. I should have warned them. But instead, I touched it. The ship's control room felt colder that day, the dim lights casting long shadows across the worn metal surfaces. My hands trembled, not from the chill of the air, but from the weight of anticipation. The vastness of space stretched beyond the viewport, a tapestry of stars twinkling like distant memories. I had been drifting through the remnants of a forgotten star system for weeks, my only companions the echoes of my own thoughts and the hum of the ship's engines. The solitude was suffocating, yet it felt like a necessary penance for what I had lost. Before I go on, tell me in the comments which city you're watching from. I want to know how far my story travels across the stars. As I gazed into the abyss, I felt a pull, an inexplicable urge to explore the depths of the unknown. The asteroid field around me was a graveyard of celestial bodies, remnants of a time long past. I had come here seeking answers, but I was unprepared for the discovery that awaited me. The signal pulsed rhythmically, a heartbeat in the silence of space, and with each beat, I felt an unsettling thrill coursing through me. I adjusted the ship's trajectory, closing the distance to the source of the signal. The asteroid loomed larger, its surface marred by craters and scars. As I maneuvered closer, the scanners began to reveal anomalies, structures buried beneath layers of rock, remnants of an ancient civilization. My heart raced as I realized the implications. This was not just a discovery, it was a portal to the past, a chance to uncover the secrets of those who had come before us. The ship's systems whirred to life, and I activated the excavation drones. They deployed like mechanical spiders, scuttling across the surface of the asteroid, their sensors scanning for the source of the signal. I watched the feed on my display, my breath hitching as the drones began to uncover what lay hidden beneath the stone. Each fragment of debris they cleared revealed more of the ancient structure, its architecture unlike anything I had ever seen. As the final layer of rock crumbled away, I leaned forward, my pulse quickening. The beacon stood before me, a monolith of technology and mystery, its surface etched with symbols that seemed to shimmer in the dim light. It was a contact beacon, a relic of a civilization that had reached out into the cosmos, seeking connection, understanding. I felt a surge of emotion, awe, fear, and an insatiable curiosity. What had they hoped to achieve? What had they found? I reached out, my fingers brushing against the cold metal. A jolt of energy coursed through me, and for a moment I was enveloped in a blinding light. The universe seemed to shift around me, and I felt the weight of countless eyes upon me, the gaze of those who had come before, the echoes of their hopes and dreams reverberating through time. I staggered back, disoriented, my mind racing with questions. What had I awakened? In that instant, the beacon emitted a series of pulsating signals, each one resonating with a frequency that sent ripples through the fabric of space. I could feel it in my bones, a call to action that transcended time and distance. The coordinates began to materialize on my display, revealing a location that sent chills down my spine. A colony humanity had never founded, a place that existed only in the whispers of the cosmos. As the realization settled in, I felt a sense of dread wash over me. The implications were staggering. What lay at those coordinates? What secrets would we uncover? And at what cost? I had opened a door that might never close, and the weight of that knowledge pressed heavily upon my shoulders. The ship shuddered, a warning that something was amiss. Alarms blared, and the control panel flickered as a surge of energy radiated from the beacon. My heart raced. I had to act quickly. I initiated the ship's systems, attempting to stabilize our position. The beacon pulsed again, a beacon of light in the dark abyss of space, and I could feel the gravitational pull of something far greater than myself. As I fought to regain control, I caught a glimpse of the stars through the viewport. They seemed to shimmer with an intensity I had never seen before, a cosmic tapestry woven with threads of fate. I realized then that I was not just an observer in this vast universe. I was a participant in a story that had been unfolding long before I had taken my first breath. The ship lurched violently, and I gripped the controls, my knuckles white. I could hear the distant echoes of engines roaring to life, the sounds of ships converging on the coordinates revealed by the beacon. My heart sank as I realized the truth. I had not just awakened a relic, I had ignited a spark that would draw others into this cosmic dance of discovery and conflict. What had I done? The beacon's light grew brighter, illuminating the control room in an ethereal glow. I felt a surge of power coursing through the ship, a connection to the ancient technology that pulsed beneath the surface. It was as if the beacon was alive, aware of my presence, and eager to share its secrets. But with that power came a weight, a responsibility that I could not ignore. I had to make a choice. I could flee, abandon this path, and seek solace in the darkness of space. Or I could embrace the unknown, dive headfirst into the mysteries that awaited me. My mind raced as I weighed the options, the consequences of each decision heavy on my heart. In that moment of uncertainty, I felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps this was not just a burden. Perhaps it was an opportunity, a chance to uncover the truth about the universe and our place within it. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for what lay ahead. The beacon had whispered its coordinates, and I could not turn away. With newfound determination, I charted a course for the colony, my fingers dancing over the controls. The ship responded with a hum of energy, and I felt the weight of the cosmos shift around me. As I propelled myself toward the unknown, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, not just by the stars, but by those who had come before, their hopes and dreams intertwining with my own. And so I ventured forth, a lone explorer in a universe filled with mysteries yet to be unveiled. The beacon pulsed rhythmically, guiding me toward a destiny I could not yet comprehend. I was on the precipice of something monumental, a journey that would challenge everything I thought I knew about humanity, the universe, and the legacy we leave behind. As the ship surged through the void, I felt the familiar pang of isolation creeping in. The silence of space was deafening, a stark reminder of the distance between me and the world I once knew. I was an island adrift in a sea of stars, and the weight of my solitude pressed heavily upon me. But within that silence, I found a strange comfort, a sense of purpose that ignited a fire within me. The coordinates drew closer, and with each passing moment, the anticipation grew. I could almost hear the whispers of the ancient civilization that had once thrived in this forgotten corner of the galaxy, their stories waiting to be uncovered. I had become a vessel for their legacy, a bridge between the past and the present. But as I navigated the darkness, I could not ignore the shadows lurking in the corners of my mind. What dangers awaited me at the colony? What truths would I uncover? And would they be worth the price I might have to pay? The questions gnawed at me, but I pushed them aside, focusing on the path ahead. The beacon pulsed again, a steady rhythm that resonated deep within me. I could feel its energy coursing through the ship, intertwining with my own. It was a connection that transcended time and space, a reminder that I was not alone in this vast universe. I was part of something greater, a tapestry woven with the threads of countless lives. As I approached the coordinates, the stars began to shift, forming a constellation that seemed to guide me toward my destination. I felt a sense of clarity wash over me, a realization that this journey was not just about discovery, it was about understanding the very essence of existence. The universe was a complex web of connections, and I was but a single thread in its intricate design. With the beacon as my guide, I braced myself for what lay ahead. The colony awaited, shrouded in mystery and fraught with uncertainty. I could feel the weight of the past pressing down on me, the echoes of those who had come before urging me to uncover the truth. As the ship surged forward, I embraced the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges awaited me in the depths of the cosmos. The moment the beacon unleashed its blinding light, I felt the ship tremble as if it were alive, responding to the ancient call echoing through the void. The pulsating energy surged around me, weaving through the circuits and systems, igniting alarms and warnings that screamed for my attention. I gripped the control panel, my heart racing, as the fabric of space around me began to warp, twisting and contorting in ways I had never imagined possible. The ship's sensors went haywire, displaying a chaotic array of readings that flickered erratically. I glanced at the navigation screen, my breath hitching, as I realized the coordinates were shifting, the destination morphing into something unrecognizable. It was as if the beacon was alive, actively reshaping reality itself, and I was caught in its gravitational pull. "Warning! Anomaly is detected in surrounding space," the ship's AI announced, its voice strained and mechanical, barely able to keep up with the chaos unfolding. "Engaging emergency protocols." I had no time to process the implications of its words. The ship lurched violently, and I was thrown against the bulkhead, my vision blurring as the stars outside morphed into streaks of light. Panic clawed at my throat as I struggled to regain control, my fingers flying over the controls, trying to stabilize the vessel. But the beacon's power was overwhelming, and I was merely a spectator in a cosmic storm that threatened to consume me. Through the chaos, I caught glimpses of other ships emerging from the shadows, their hulls illuminated by the beacon's radiance. They were drawn to the same call, like moths to a flame, each one a harbinger of conflict. I could see the insignias of various factions emblazoned on their sides, a testament to the myriad of interests converging upon this forgotten corner of the galaxy. A fleet of warships, sleek and menacing, moved with precision, their weapon systems primed and ready. I recognized their markings, the Dominion, a formidable empire known for its ruthlessness and ambition. They had come seeking power, intent on claiming whatever secrets the beacon held. My heart sank as I realized the danger I had inadvertently unleashed. In a matter of moments, the void erupted into chaos. The warships exchanged fire, brilliant flashes of energy illuminating the darkness as they clashed in a deadly dance. The sound of explosions reverberated through my ship, shaking it to its core. I could only watch in horror as the once serene expanse of space transformed into a battlefield, the distant cries of the dying echoing in my mind. "Reinforcements are arriving," the AI reported, its voice tinged with urgency. "Multiple vessels detected, all converging on the beacon's coordinates." I felt the weight of responsibility settle heavily on my shoulders. I had awakened something far beyond my understanding, and now I was trapped in the eye of a storm that threatened to consume everything in its path. The beacon had become a catalyst for conflict, a spark igniting the flames of war. As I tried to maneuver my ship away from the battle, I spotted a smaller vessel caught in the crossfire. It was a civilian craft, its hull battered and smoking, desperately trying to escape the chaos. My instincts kicked in, and I gritted my teeth, knowing I couldn't abandon them. I engaged the thrusters, steering my ship toward the stricken vessel, the beacon's light illuminating the path ahead. "Stay close to me," I shouted into the comms, hoping against hope that they could hear me over the din of destruction. "I'll get you out of here." But as I closed the distance, a blast from a warship struck the civilian craft, sending it spiraling into the abyss. I watched helplessly as the ship disintegrated, the debris scattering like stardust in the wake of the explosion. A surge of rage and guilt coursed through me, and I slammed my fist against the control panel, the weight of my actions crashing down around me. "Why did I have to touch it?" I whispered to myself, my voice barely audible over the chaos. "What have I done?" The battle raged on, and I was but a pawn in a game of cosmic chess, my heart heavy with the knowledge that I had set this in motion. I could no longer deny the truth. The beacon was a harbinger of destruction, a relic that had awakened a darkness long buried beneath the surface of the universe. As I navigated the chaos, I caught sight of another ship, its hull battered but still intact. It bore the markings of a faction I had never encountered before, a group of survivors from a long-lost civilization who had once inhabited the coordinates revealed by the beacon. Their presence sent a shiver down my spine, and I felt an inexplicable connection to them, as if they held the key to understanding the beacon's true purpose. I initiated a comms lint, my voice trembling with urgency. "This is Captain Alara Voss of the Starlight Voyager. I need you to respond. We can't let this escalate further." A crackling voice came through the static, filled with desperation. "We're not here to fight. We came to warn you. The beacon is a safeguard, a warning against a threat that has been dormant for eons." My heart raced as I processed their words. A safeguard? A warning? The implications were staggering, and I felt a flicker of hope amidst the chaos. "What do you mean? What threat?" "The beacon was designed to protect our civilization from an ancient darkness," the voice continued, urgency lacing their tone. "When it awakens, it signals the return of a force that seeks to consume everything in its path. We must stop this war before it's too late." My heart raced as I processed their words. A safeguard? A warning? The implications were staggering, and I felt a flicker of hope amidst the chaos. "What do you mean? What threat?" "The beacon was designed to protect our civilization from an ancient darkness," the voice continued, urgency lacing their tone. "When it awakens, it signals the return of a force that seeks to consume everything in its path. We must stop this war before it's too late." I could hardly breathe as realization washed over me. The factions fighting for control over the beacon were blind to the true danger that loomed on the horizon. I had stumbled upon something far greater than I could have ever anticipated, and now I had a choice to make: to continue fleeing or to stand and fight for the future of humanity. "All right," I said, determination rising within me. "I'll help you. We need to unite the factions and warn them about the impending threat." "Be careful," the voice cautioned. "Time is running out, and the darkness is already stirring." With renewed resolve, I maneuvered my ship away from the chaos, seeking a vantage point to observe the battle below. The warships continued to clash, their weapons lighting up the darkness like a deadly fireworks display. I could see the desperation in their movements, the fear that drove them to fight for control over something they did not fully understand. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for what lay ahead. The beacon had awakened a conflict that could spiral into an all-consuming war, but perhaps, just perhaps, I could be the catalyst for change. I needed to find a way to communicate with the factions, to convey the urgency of the situation before it was too late. As I scanned the battlefield, I spotted a familiar insignia: the Dominion flagship, a colossal vessel that commanded respect and fear in equal measure. It was the heart of the conflict, and if I could reach out to them, I might be able to broker a temporary ceasefire. "AI, initiate a secure communication channel with the Dominion flagship," I commanded, my heart racing at the prospect of facing them. I need to speak with their commander. "Establishing connection," the AI replied, its voice steady despite the chaos surrounding us. The screen flickered to life, and I was met with the stern visage of a Dominion officer, their expression unreadable. "State your purpose, Captain Voss." "I'm reaching out to you because we face a threat greater than any conflict over the beacon," I said, my voice steady despite the tension in my chest. "We must unite against this darkness before it consumes us all." The officer's brow furrowed, skepticism etched across their features. "And why should we trust you? You awakened this chaos." "I know," I admitted, shame flooding my veins. "But I also have information that could save us. The beacon is not just a relic, it's a warning." "We're in danger, and if we don't act now, we'll all be lost." Silence stretched between us, heavy with the weight of my words. I could see the officer grappling with the implications, their expression shifting from skepticism to contemplation. "What do you propose?" "We need to call a truce," I suggested, my heart pounding. "If we can gather the factions and share what we know, we might have a chance to confront the darkness together." The officer regarded me for a long moment, their gaze piercing. "You have one chance, Captain. If you're lying, I will see to it that you're held accountable." "Understood," I replied, relief flooding my system. "Thank you for considering this." As the communication cut off, I felt a flicker of hope ignite within me. I had taken the first step toward uniting the factions, but the road ahead was fraught with uncertainty. I needed to reach out to the other factions to convey the urgency of the situation before it spiraled further out of control. I activated the ship's comms, broadcasting a message to all nearby vessels. "This is Captain Alara Voss of the Starlight Voyager. I urge all factions to cease hostilities and gather at my coordinates. We face a threat beyond our understanding, and we must unite to confront it." As I awaited their responses, I felt the weight of the universe pressing down on me. The chaos of battle continued to rage around me, but within the storm, I felt a glimmer of possibility. Perhaps this was my chance to forge a new path, to turn the tide of conflict into a collective effort for survival. Moments later, responses began to flood in, each one tinged with skepticism, but also a hint of curiosity. The factions were wary, but the urgency of the situation had begun to resonate with them. I could feel the tides shifting, the potential for unity rising amidst the chaos. As ships began to converge on my location, I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the challenge ahead. I had awakened a conflict, but perhaps, with determination and courage, I could also awaken a sense of purpose within those who had come to fight. The beacon's light pulsed in the distance, a reminder of the legacy I had unearthed. I was no longer just a lone explorer. I was a catalyst for change, a bridge between the past and the future. The stakes were higher than ever, and the darkness loomed on the horizon, but I would not face it alone. As the first ships arrived, I prepared myself for what lay ahead. The journey was far from over, and the true test of our resolve was yet to come. Together, we would confront the shadows that threatened to engulf us, and in that confrontation, we might find the strength to forge a new destiny among the stars. The silence between stars is a heavy burden. Each moment stretches into infinity, a reminder of my solitude and the weight of my choices. I drifted aboard the Starlight Voyager, surrounded by the echoes of a conflict that I had unwittingly ignited. The ship floated like a ghost among the remnants of war, a silent observer to the chaos unfolding across the galaxy. I had gathered the factions, but the atmosphere was thick with tension. Trust was a fragile thing, easily shattered by the specter of betrayal. As I prepared to meet the leaders, I felt a knot of anxiety tighten in my chest. Would they listen? Would they see beyond their grievances to the greater threat that loomed? In the dim light of the command room, I stared at the star map flickering on the screen. The coordinates of the beacon pulsed ominously, a reminder of the ancient technology that had set this chain of events in motion. I could almost hear its whispers, urging me to delve deeper into its mysteries. But with each passing moment, I felt the pressure of the universe bearing down on me, a reminder of the stakes we faced. As the leaders of the factions assembled, I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the challenge ahead. The room was filled with a cacophony of voices, each one vying for attention, each one steeped in their own agenda. I watched as they glared at one another, suspicion etched on their faces. "Enough!" I finally shouted, my voice cutting through the noise. The room fell silent, and all eyes turned to me. "We are on the brink of annihilation, and yet you squabble like children. We must unite against the darkness that threatens us all." A tall figure stepped forward, his armor gleaming under the dim lights. "And why should we trust you, Captain Voss? You awakened the beacon. You are the reason we are here." His accusation hung in the air, heavy and accusatory. I could feel the weight of his words, the truth behind them. I had awakened something that should have remained buried, and now the galaxy was paying the price. But I couldn't let guilt consume me. "I understand your anger," I replied, my voice steady, "but the beacon was a warning, not a weapon. It points to a threat we cannot ignore." A murmur rippled through the room, and I pressed on. "I have spoken to survivors from the civilization that once inhabited the coordinates. They warned of a darkness that lies beyond our understanding, a force that seeks to consume everything in its path. If we do not act together, we will all fall." The leaders exchanged glances, uncertainty flickering in their eyes. Slowly, they began to lower their weapons, the tension in the room easing ever so slightly. "Tell us more," a voice called from the back, the owner obscured by shadows. "What do you know of this darkness?" I gestured to the star map, the coordinates glowing like a beacon of hope amidst despair. The ancient civilization thrived where the beacon points. They harnessed technology that allowed them to see beyond the veil of reality, to glimpse the cosmic horrors that lurked just out of sight. They left behind warnings, but we have ignored them, believing ourselves invincible. As I spoke, I could see the skepticism in their eyes begin to wane. I pressed on, determined to share the knowledge I had gained. The beacon is not merely a signal, it is a safeguard. It alerts us to the encroaching darkness, a force that has been dormant for eons, but is now awakening. If we do not come together, we will be unprepared for what lies ahead. The room was silent, the weight of my words sinking in. I could see the leaders grappling with the implications, their minds racing as they processed the enormity of the threat. "What do you propose?" the armored figure asked, his voice softer now, tinged with uncertainty. "We need to call a truce," I suggested, my heart pounding. "If we can gather the factions and share what we know, we might have a chance to confront the darkness together." The officer regarded me for a long moment, their gaze piercing. "You have one chance, Captain. If you're lying, I will see to it that you're held accountable." "Understood," I replied, relief flooding my system. "Thank you for considering this." As the communication cut off, I felt a flicker of hope ignite within me. I had taken the first step toward uniting the factions, but the road ahead was fraught with uncertainty. I needed to reach out to the other factions to convey the urgency of the situation before it spiraled further out of control. I activated the ship's comms, broadcasting a message to all nearby vessels. "This is Captain Alara Voss of the Starlight Voyager. I urge all factions to cease hostilities and gather at my coordinates. We face a threat beyond our understanding, and we must unite to confront it." As I awaited their responses, I felt the weight of the universe pressing down on me. The chaos of battle continued to rage around me, but within the storm, I felt a glimmer of possibility. Perhaps this was my chance to forge a new path, to turn the tide of conflict into a collective effort for survival. Moments later, responses began to flood in, each one tinged with skepticism but also a hint of curiosity. The factions were wary, but the urgency of the situation had begun to resonate with them. I could feel the tides shifting, the potential for unity rising amidst the chaos. As ships began to converge on my location, I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the challenge ahead. I had awakened a conflict, but perhaps, with determination and courage, I could also awaken a sense of purpose within those who had come to fight. The beacon's light pulsed in the distance, a reminder of the legacy I had unearthed. I was no longer just a lone explorer. I was a catalyst for change, a bridge between the past and the future. The stakes were higher than ever, and the darkness loomed on the horizon, but I would not face it alone. As the first ships arrived, I prepared myself for what lay ahead. The journey was far from over, and the true test of our resolve was yet to come. Together, we would confront the shadows that threatened to engulf us, and in that confrontation, we might find the strength to forge a new destiny among the stars. The gathering of ships was a sight to behold, a motley assembly of vessels from different factions, each bearing the scars of conflict. As they docked, I felt a mix of trepidation and hope. This was our chance to unite, but I knew that trust would not come easily. I stepped onto the observation deck, watching as the leaders disembarked from their ships, flanked by armed guards and advisors. The air was thick with tension as they exchanged wary glances, each one sizing up the other. "Welcome," I called out, trying to project confidence. "I appreciate your willingness to come here despite the circumstances." The armored figure from before stepped forward, his expression unreadable. "Let's get to the point, Captain. You claim there's a darkness we need to confront. What do you know?" I gestured for them to follow me to the briefing room, where we could discuss the situation in more detail. "Please, take a seat. We have much to discuss." As we settled into our seats, I activated the star map once more, highlighting the coordinates of the beacon. This is where it all began. The beacon was designed to alert us to the presence of an ancient threat. The civilization that once thrived here understood the dangers that lurked beyond the stars, and they left us warnings that we have ignored. A murmur of disbelief rippled through the room. "You expect us to believe that this beacon is a warning?" one of the leaders scoffed. "It's more likely a trap." I met their gaze, unwavering. "I understand your skepticism, but the survivors I spoke with confirmed its purpose. They warned me of the darkness that lies just beyond our reach, a force that seeks to consume everything in its path. If we do not act together, we will all fall." The room fell silent again, the gravity of my words sinking in. "You expect us to believe that this beacon is a warning?" one of the leaders scoffed. "It's more likely a trap." I met their gaze, unwavering. "I understand your skepticism, but the survivors I spoke with confirmed its purpose. They warned me of the darkness that lies just beyond our reach, a force that seeks to consume everything in its path. If we do not act together, we will all fall." The room fell silent again, the gravity of my words sinking in. "What do you propose we do?" the armored figure asked, his voice steady. "We need to gather our resources and prepare for what's to come," I replied. "We must work together to unlock the secrets of the beacon. If we can understand its technology, we may be able to harness it to confront the darkness." "And what if we can't?" another leader interjected. "What if this darkness is beyond our comprehension?" "Then we will face it together," I said, my voice firm. "But we cannot afford to let our differences divide us. The only way to survive is to unite our strengths and confront this threat head-on." The leaders exchanged uncertain glances, but I could sense a shift in the atmosphere. The weight of the impending danger was beginning to resonate with them. "Very well," the armored figure said, his tone begrudgingly respectful. "We will consider your proposal, but know this: if you lead us into a trap, I will not hesitate to hold you accountable." I nodded, understanding the gravity of his words. "I accept that risk, but I believe that together we can forge a new path forward." As the meeting concluded, I felt a sense of relief wash over me. We had taken the first step toward unity, but the road ahead would be fraught with challenges. I needed to ensure that the factions understood the urgency of our situation and the importance of collaboration. Over the next few days, we worked tirelessly to prepare for the confrontation with the darkness. The leaders set aside their differences, pooling resources and knowledge to unlock the secrets of the beacon. I watched as alliances formed, as former enemies began to see the value in cooperation. But even as hope blossomed, I could feel the tension in the air. The darkness was still out there, lurking just beyond the veil of reality, waiting for the right moment to strike. I could sense its presence, a cold whisper that sent shivers down my spine. As we delved deeper into the mysteries of the beacon, I began to understand the true nature of the threat we faced. The darkness was not merely a cosmic force. It was a manifestation of our deepest fears and insecurities, a reflection of the chaos that lay within us. I shared my insights with the leaders, urging them to confront their own demons as we prepared for battle. "The darkness will exploit our weaknesses," I warned. "We must be united in purpose, or it will tear us apart." As we continued our preparations, I felt a growing sense of determination. We were no longer just a collection of factions. We were a coalition, bound by a shared purpose. Together, we would confront the shadows that threatened to engulf us, and in that confrontation, we might find the strength to forge a new destiny among the stars. The day of reckoning arrived, and I stood on the bridge of the Starlight Voyager, my heart racing as I gazed out at the fleet assembled around me. Ships of all shapes and sizes, each one a testament to the resilience of the factions that had once been at odds. "Today, we stand together," I declared, my voice echoing through the comms. "We face a darkness that seeks to consume us, but we will not falter. We will fight for our future, for the legacy of those who came before us. Together, we will prevail." Cheers erupted from the fleet, a chorus of voices united in determination. I felt a surge of hope as I looked out at the stars, knowing that we were about to confront the unknown. As we set course for the coordinates of the beacon, I felt the weight of the universe on my shoulders. The darkness loomed ahead, but I knew that we had forged a bond that could withstand even the most formidable of threats. With the beacon guiding us, we plunged into the depths of the cosmos, ready to face whatever lay ahead. The silence between stars was no longer a burden. It was a promise of the unknown, a reminder that we were not alone in our struggle. Together, we would confront the darkness, and in that confrontation, we would find our strength. The journey was far from over, but as I looked out into the vast expanse of space, I knew that we were ready to face the challenges ahead. As the ships moved forward, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. We were no longer just individuals. We were a collective force, united in purpose and resolve. The darkness would come, but we would stand strong, ready to fight for our future among the stars. In the depths of space, we would find our destiny. And in that destiny, we would uncover the truth about the beacon, the ancient civilization, and the darkness that lay waiting beyond the veil of reality. With each passing moment, I felt the anticipation building. The silence between stars was a canvas, and we were about to paint our legacy across the cosmos. Together, we would confront the unknown, and in that confrontation, we would find our place among the stars.